Now, they're awake just before sunrise. Their chirps and tweets provide sweet melodies as background music for our day-to-day lives. Some with delicate features, other with bright colors, and even those large eagles who other creatures may fear. Birds play an important part in our ecosystem. Now, to tell us more, we were joined in studio by NaturCast's Alex Dermer, and we asked him why birds are so important for the ecosystem.
Birds perform such an amazing array of activities for us, generally, whether it's decomposing through carrion or eating of carrion, such as vultures, whether it's helping us pollinate plants and actually with control of insects and such as well. So things that people think of as pets or as pests, so whether it's locusts or anything like that, that's where insectivores come into play as well. So, I mean, the amount of things that birds actually do for us, it's incredible, really. Overlooked, like you said, but they're really cool things.
Now, I know you guys have been working at NaturCast on a documentary recently on birds, the birds of Makuleke, if I'm not mistaken. Tell us about this area first, and why did you then decide to have a look at the birds there?
Well, Makuleke area is in the northern part of the Kruger Park. The Kruger Park has around 420-odd species of birds, and a lot of them are actually found within the northern part of the Kruger. So some of those birds in the northern Kruger are actually found in their southernmost parts within Africa, such as racket-tailed rollers. And then there's also really rare birds such as pearl-spotted owls and fishing owls and the such. So the Kruger obviously being such an amazing place as it is, and the birds thereof, it was just great just to show a little bit about some of the birds that we'd seen and actually got some footage of. They're quite hard to get footage of, understandably, though.
Yeah, some incredible pictures we see on screen now with the birds that we often overlook. Just talk to us about the threats that our bird life face day to day. Humans are now playing a significant role in destroying their habitat. Is it as simple as that, or have we even a more active role in the threat to bird life?
Yeah, it really is as simple as that. Whether it comes down to for things such as industrialization and chemicals going into rivers, for example, bad uses of insecticides or just power lines for certain raptors and that kind of thing. Also deforestation, so the lack of big trees obviously out of wilderness areas, obviously it doesn't exactly help vultures or a lot of other raptor species in terms of their nesting and breeding practices either.
You talk about the threats to them, the power lines and the poison and all the kind of things that's quite natural in our environment. Here in South Africa, do we have enough of the rehabilitation programs for wild birds who get injured or even get trapped by us, or even those that are poisoned for that matter?
Yeah, there definitely are rehabilitation centres and that. I also think a lot has actually got to do with awareness of what we actually are putting back into the environment. So if you take oil spills on the coastline and all of that, and there definitely are huge rehabilitation stations that help our penguins and our seabirds as well. And then obviously the wild birds that we like to think of in game reserves, such as Kruger Park that we mentioned earlier. So whether it's poisoning of carcasses or just then lack of food just because of those insecticides that have been used.
I must say, some of the shots that you guys took out in Makuleke are just amazing, and it's incredible. These birds all look familiar, but when you see the name on screen, suddenly the penny drops. Oh, that's what it is. Yes, brought to you by NaturCast. Quickly tell us, what should we be doing as individuals to assist in the conservation of birds, if you can do so at your own home?
Well, yes, obviously there are certain great things that we can be doing. A lot of people supply seed for birds in winter when there is a lack of food. And then it's also just being aware when you are in a rural area, that kind of thing. Don't throw your rubbish away. And then also, like I was saying earlier, and I've obviously mentioned the point a few times, is just like don't use bad insecticides or anything like that. Obviously, it then goes back into the ecosystem and it affects all things, obviously, not just birds.
What about hunting and shooting? Is that still a threat? And if so, how do we mitigate that? What's being done?
I'm sure it is a threat, but I don't really know too much about the hunting scene with regards to it. But yes, I'm sure that certain birds, whether they are endangered and that kind of thing, obviously there needs to be regulations to be put in place and they need to be adhered to. So yeah, when we think about it in that terms, you just got to regulate what you are shooting, or if you are going out to shoot, obviously you rather shoot for the pot, don't shoot for the wall kind of thing. Same within any kind of hunting situation.
In North Africa, there are real concerns about the amounts of birds that's being hunted, because I think in Arab countries they eat any bird. You know, it's not like in South Africa where we eat chicken, and that's probably at a push maybe a turkey now and again. Do we have a threat with birds becoming increasingly targeted for the pot in South Africa?
Yes, definitely. Within Southern Africa, I think especially, so waterfowl and other birds. I mean, there was a whole thing within Mozambique a couple of years ago where wild birds were being traded and obviously eaten then too. And like I said, it's obviously awareness of your diet and what you are actually going to be consuming. Everyone likes to eat duck and everyone likes to eat turkey too. So, I mean, if we're careful about and we manage exactly what is out there and how we go about doing these things, then there shouldn't really be a problem. We're all here to live the same life, evidently, so we're all part of the same thing, the world, so we've got to do it.
A new study, scientific study, says that parrots generally are facing extinction. What do you make of this?
I think that's a very valid and true point, and that's mostly because of the wild and exotic bird trade. So regardless if it's in the Amazon or through the Congo Basin with African grey parrots, in Australia I'm sure they also have issues of it, and it's these birds going onto an illegal black market trading system for collectors or whoever it may be, and awareness really needs to be created around these things. And I know that there's an article that's coming out today or so about African grey parrots being risen up on the CITES list because of that and because of their trade. So we need to think about this, and we need to be careful with what we actually are doing.
Now, of course, we're heading into winter. Birds are migrating, but some are staying behind. Talk to us a little bit about which birds will be leaving and what birds we can still be on the lookout for here in winter.
Okay, cool. Specifically in the Kruger area, we have around 200 birds that migrate in and out of South Africa. So there's birds such as Amur falcons, European bee-eaters, the white storks, obviously, and some of them go as far as into Asia, some into Europe, some to the Ukraine. And it's amazing to think that these birds, obviously, they have to have feeding stations on the way, and these areas obviously need to be conserved too. So there's certain swallows that only stop off at certain oases within the Sahara and all of that as well, on their way back all the way through.